I just got one question for you this day. On this morning, one question. Are you satisfied? Maybe you're not as satisfied as you want to be, or maybe you are as satisfied as you're going to be. The question is, how satisfied can you be, seeing that I got something for you that you actually might want to listen into? Check this out. So, y'all know I had to cut this music on. I was really going through some things, like really going through some things in my mind, trying to understand why so many people struggle. And I know that struggling is not always the same. It doesn't always look the same. But why do we struggle with things we have no business struggling with? And I got an answer for you. That's what this supersonic morning momentum is all about. Getting that momentum right. Yeah. If you're tired of struggling with things you don't know why you keep struggling with, I actually know exactly what you can do to get you to where you want to be. It all boils down to that, though. B, who have you become? Now, we hear it often, especially if you're in the personal development realm. It's be, do, have. And if you've ever heard be, do, have, I heard it from Zig Ziglar first. Then I've heard it from Myron Golden. I've heard it from so many other great individuals, great speakers, great leaders. However, something was missing. And what was missing for me was the give, because you can't give what you don't have, but you are giving. And we're all giving. And if you don't like what you're giving, you have to check what you have, right? Well, based off of what you're giving, there is something you are receiving in response. This is a law. This is called reciprocity. And according to the law of reciprocity, you will reap what you sow. So if we don't like what we're reaping, then we got to check what we're sowing. That's what you are giving. And the number one thing that you are giving people on a day to day basis at a high level, I'm talking about thousands of them are going out from you, are words. Yep, words. And the words that you are actually speaking are the gifts that you're giving. Question is, are your words a gift? That is the question. Because if your words are a gift, then guess what? That's why you living the life that you want to live to a certain extent. Then if you're not satisfied, if you're not satisfied with the words that are coming out of your mouth, I want to show you something. There's a proverb. It says, a man will be satisfied with good. Yeah. By the fruit of his words. And the deeds of a man's hands will return to him. I said, whoa, wait a minute. You'll be satisfied with good. Oh, snap. Let's go ahead and let's go back. Let's take this back a little bit. Hold on, we gotta. So if you're gonna be satisfied at any point of capacity in life, you definitely want good satisfaction, right? Well, what is satisfaction? What does it mean to be satisfied? That is the question you have to answer first. Because if a person is going to be satisfied for good, like, oh my goodness, with good, oh my goodness, good satisfaction, well, how do I get that? Well, first and foremost, to be satisfied is to be fulfilled, it's to be content. It's to say, you know what? I don't need anything further. I'm good. I'm great. Don't get it twisted. There's a system that you've been programmed with, more than likely, especially if you went through the school system. And in that school system, they gave these report cards talking about whether you were satisfactory or not, or you were excellent. That's the top. You got an E. You got an S. Yeah, it's acceptable. It's acceptable. Then you got an N, needs improvement. And then the U is unsatisfactory. It's like, man, if someone is telling you what it looks like to be satisfied, then we got to readjust some things. Because satisfaction is not by somebody else's standard. It is by the what is coming out of your mouth. It says, I didn't make this up. It says, a man will be satisfied with good by the fruit of his words, and the deeds of a man's hands will return to him. So if you want to be satisfied with good, you got to check what you're speaking, because that is the satisfaction that you will bring about. You will bring about what it is that you are sowing. You will reap what you sow. Remember the law of reciprocity. This means also that there is a system you've been programmed with making you think at some point in time you were unsatisfactory, meaning you weren't enough. Do you understand that? I got plenty of U's when I was a kid in school. I got plenty of N's. I got quite a few S's, rarely got E's. There was never a point of time where I was just this excellent child. Oh my goodness, he's so great. Why? Because I bucked the system. Things just didn't sit right and well with me. It didn't make sense to be somebody that they wanted me to be. I didn't have to be, especially if it went against what my parents were telling me to be. Now, if I'm being told to just follow rules and follow instructions, sometimes the instructions we are following is the reason we are getting the results that we are getting. If you don't like the meal that you are producing, then stop following the daggone recipe. You gotta make some adjustments, fam. If you don't like what you're cooking, then stop following the instructions on the box or the recipe, because it is a recipe sometimes for disaster. It is a recipe for something that you do not desire. And that right there is not what you require. If you don't want what you're getting, stop giving it. It's be, do, have, give. If you don't like what you're receiving, you got to check what you're giving. You don't like what you're giving, you got to check what you have in inventory, what you're producing. And if you don't like what you have, you got to look at what you're doing. And if you don't like what you're doing, you got to look in the mirror, because now the man or woman that you see in that mirror is the one that is responsible for it all. So if you're not satisfied, if you don't feel complete, if you don't feel contented, if you don't feel fulfilled, that is because your words have been betraying you. See, if you want good satisfaction, oh my goodness, you want to be satisfied with good, it's your words that change your whole trajectory of life. You're like, wait a minute, hold on. So this is in Proverbs. It says, a man will be satisfied with good by the fruit of his words or mouth, and the deeds of a man's hands will return to him. What you are doing is producing something. That is why you have it. But did you know that the words that come out of your mouth are also evidence of just how much of value you are seen by somebody else? Think about it. The only reason you're listening to me right now is because of the words that I'm speaking. You're hearing something and it's causing you to listen. You're leaning in because it is captivating and causing you to grow and learn something. If I tell you, hey, you got value, fam. Hey, you worth it, fam. Hey, you got purpose, fam. Hey, you are somebody that's worth loving. Hey, you are somebody that's worth listening to as well. Hey, you got things that you've gone through in life. Somebody needs to hear your story. You hear this and you resonate with it to a certain extent. But it's not just because Jared's great. It's because of the principle. What's the principle? Well, the principle says this. Oh my goodness, there's so many things I could give you. But one of the greatest things is this. It says, there is one who speaks rashly, like the thrust of a sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Oh, healing. The tongue of the wise brings healing. The words of the wise bring healing. And if you need healing, that simply means that there is something that needs to be made whole again. It needs to be brought back together and fixed because there was something that was disconnected. The people who are unsatisfied in life are simply in need of healing. They need to be made whole again. They're not content. So, once again, it's your words, fam. Your words are the very things that will produce the life that you live. The words you tell yourself and the words you tell everyone else. If you want to receive respect, if you want to receive honor, if you want to receive any type of glory from anything that you have in life, it's going to start with your words, because you will be remembered according to what it is that you are repeating. And the beautiful thing is when you're somebody that's worth being repeated. You see, when you have words that are healing coming out of your mouth, you are causing individuals to grow. You're provoking that. But how is it you're doing that? Well, you're being satisfied. You're being completed. You're being fulfilled. Why? Because of how you respond out loud. The beauty behind this is also this. We all struggle at some point or often. We struggle with something in life. And the struggle is what actually produces greatness inside of the greatest people that you've ever seen. There is no one that you have ever experienced in life that is great. I'm talking about amazing, phenomenal, extravagant, extraordinary, excellent, that does not have a struggle story. Not a one. And anyone who has ever struggled has something to tell you about it. Because what it is that they have been through, those are what you call scars. But what it is that you may be going through, those are what you may call wounds. And if the wounds are still open, sometimes you need to hear somebody else's story about their scars because you want to know how you can be healed too. Well, the words that are coming out of their mouth are healing. So you have hope. Anybody that is producing hope with their words, they are also showing you what it is that they've experienced as well. This is talking about the work of their hands. If you want to know how to go from one place to another, you got to go listen to somebody. You got to go find out and see the evidence. If you want to know, okay, shoot, let's say it's business. Is this something I should sell? Well, who's selling it? If someone else is selling it, it is doing well. There's a market for it. People are paying a lot of money. People are constantly spending money there. Then there goes your evidence right there. Well, what if you were the person that needed to show up and show evidence that somebody else can get through what they're going through? Would you open up your mouth then? Would you say something? Because I understand that there are times that I've experienced things in life that I did not see coming, but there was somebody that I was close to and connected, and they tapped me on the shoulder, tapped me on the back, and said, "It'll be all right, man." And I'm thinking to myself, how you know? How you gonna tell me it's gonna be all right in my head? But I listen. I'm like, man, I'm asking questions. I'm inquiring. I'm wanting to know more. And through the process of listening, I heard things that were healing. I heard things that were revealing. I heard things that were encouraging. I heard things that were hurtful because I felt their pain. There's empathy. I was able to empathize and sympathize because they chose to open up their mouth and unmute themselves. If they unmuted themselves and it helped to heal me, then that means I was able to hear and heal and go and show somebody else later on when my wounds are scars. Yep. We all experience losses, fam. We all experience tragedies. But those greatest tragedies are some of our greatest treasures because those are the very things that have equipped us with our greatest perspectives. The reasons people respect you today is because of your point of view. Your perspective is respected. That is why people respect you. Because if you speak in a fruitful manner, you're satisfied. You don't need more. You feel good about what it is that you have to say. Why? Because it's good to be said and it's good to be spoken. It's so good, it's good to be repeated. And oh my goodness, if you are somebody that is actually valued and cherished because of what comes out of your mouth, you're operating at a high level of value. So I would say that if you want to be more satisfied, be more intentional about the words that come out of your mouth. Because there's this verse, right? It says, "Count it all joy, dear brethren, when going through various trials, various struggles, various problems, all types of issues in life, challenges. Ugh. Count it all joy though when you're going through them, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience, and allow patience to have its full work. Therefore, you will be perfect and complete, lacking nothing." There you that right there. That's called being satisfied. If you want to be satisfied, you got to know how to respond to the tragedies in your life. If you want to be satisfied, then you got to know how to respond to the things that come from left field out of nowhere in your life. If you want to be satisfied, you got to know how to look at what is in front of you and find the wisdom in it. Find the opportunity, find the option to seek out versus the thing that somebody has tried to push you into. Don't let anybody tell you how you should feel. You navigate those feelings, identify the emotion, and then once you have identified what it's worth, then you choose how you will feel because you have a choice. You can count it all joy, or you can count it all, whatever. It's your business, but you have a choice to choose from, and the choice is always yours. You're not always in control. You're not always in control. You're not always in control. I remember when I got the words that my father had passed away, I wasn't in control as much as I thought I was. See, I thought I was in control because I was bold enough to ask whenever I got the phone call, is he dead? I thought I was good. I thought I was straight. I thought I knew how I was going to respond because I had already made up in my mind. But I found out I was not in as much control as I thought I was in because when the truth here hits your ears, you can't unhear the truth. When she told me yes, that he was dead, I lost my mind for a moment. I shattered. I broke. I did not know I was going to do that. So I'm not telling you that to make you feel sad and bad. I'm just telling you, you're not always in control as much as you like to believe you are. However, you do get back in control. It takes time. This is why having good people in your life is important. This is why sowing the right words is important. This is why speaking the right truth to people is important. This is why telling your story is important. This is why connecting and communicating and creating is important. Because when you're not operating at any type of connection or communication or cultivation of literally community, if you don't have friends, if you don't have those in your circle, that's more than likely because you have not unmuted yourself. The only reason most people don't have as much people as they would like to have in their life is only because they have not spoken the right way. There is a right and a wrong way to speak. The wrong way to speak, I'll give you an example. Self deprecatingly. If you tear yourself down in front of people and everybody's always having to build you up because you always speaking bad about you, it's only a matter of time before you look up and there's not a lot of people there. Unless you're the person who's always speaking life rather than death. Then you'll look up and wonder why so many people there. See, there are people who are waiting on you to open up your mouth because they know what you're good for. They've heard you too many times. They've literally eating of the fruit. But wait, the fruit. Oh, wait a minute. You talking about this right here again? A person will be satisfied with good by the fruit of their words, and the deeds of a man's hands will return to him. What you have done for people will always come back. It will always come back. But sometimes it's more so what you said to a person that will produce fruit. If you don't get anything out of what I'm telling you, remember this part. Fruit stands for full results understood in time. It takes time for the fruit to produce, but the process of development is the story that you get to tell. And the story that you get to tell shows people exactly what it is that they need at the moment they need it. And all you did was unmute yourself. All you did was open up your mouth. All you did was speak the truth. All you did was speak life, especially if you're talking about things from a perspective that not only helps them, but they can go, man, if you could tell somebody something that can go help somebody else, if they just keep passing it forward, paying it forward, give somebody, matter of fact, that's a challenge I want to give you today. If you actually want to be intentional, it's Friday. Fam, you've been through some things this week. You've been challenged left and right. I guarantee you at some point this week, you were challenged. And guess what? You still here and you overcame that challenge. Oh, you overcame the challenge. Hold on now. Not only did you overcome the challenge, but guess what? You did it last week. Oh, you ain't new to this. You true to this. You did it the week before that. Wait a minute. You did it last month. You are still here in context of every challenge you have overcome. Unmute yourself. Go tell somebody about what you outlasted. I dare you today to go and tell somebody about something that you overcame. I dare you today to go tell somebody about a challenge that you benefited from, because had you not went through that challenge, you would not have the level of perseverance, endurance, and patience that you have today. Fam, I promise you, if you unmute yourself, you will find yourself being fruitful and useful to more people than you can even count, all because of the value of the words that come out of your mouth. I promise you, if you want to be satisfied with life, your life, then get intentional about the words that you speak, because that is exactly what will produce the fruit that you yield. If you want to have good satisfaction, be satisfied with good, then speak good. The better you speak, the better you build. You build with your words. They're like bricks. Brick by brick, you are building a bridge. Oh, wait a minute. But brick by brick, you are building a house. Oh, wait a minute. What if brick by brick, you were building a castle? What if brick by brick, you were building a kingdom? What if brick by brick, you were building a legacy? Every word is a seed, and every seed that gets planted, it will produce something. Be intentional about your fruit by being intentional about the root. You determine the root by the nature of the words. And the nature of the words that you speak are either going to tear down or build up. If they can heal, then that's what you choose to do. But if they can tear down, be aware. You don't want to be the person out here with a sword just swinging and cutting people up. And you're like, well, they just needed to hear it. No, fam, you just wanted to say it. You felt like you needed to say it. Contrary to popular belief, just because it's true doesn't mean it needs to be spoken. There's a right and a wrong way to go about tactfully communicating. Because when truth outpaces love, we have a problem. Speak the truth in love. If the truth outpaces love, this may be why you don't have the people around you that you desire. Because you're very honest, but you're not very caring. And people who lack care and concern whenever they are communicating with honesty and clarity, well, if you directly challenge someone and you're not the person who is shown that you actually care about the person you're challenging, what tends to happen is there's a lack of what's called radical candor. Radical candor is when you not only are caring and concerned about the person, but you're also direct in challenging the person. You directly challenge them, but you have a heart for the individual. So love outpaces truth. You tell the truth in love, but you're careful about how you go about it. Yet you don't keep your mouth shut. You open up your mouth and you speak, but you do it in a way that can be received. It's value. So people will hear you. They'll listen to you as long as they don't feel like the first thing you did was cut them up. The word that we use is like a two-edged sword, and it cuts going in and going out. Yet if that sword is more so of a scalpel and it is used for surgery, then we're actually building the person up. We're actually healing the person. We might be removing something. We might be replacing a belief. Either way, it needs to be feeling, fulfilling. Because if it doesn't feel fulfilling, they ain't going to hear what you got to say. But I told them, so what? That's like a parent saying, I told them, I told my kids, just because you told someone something does not mean you caused them to learn. That is the definition of teach, to cause to learn. Just because you told some, I done told my kids 1,000 things, and they might retain a couple of maybe 5% of it. But the number one thing that you have to do is make sure that if you want to be satisfied, then be intentional about the words that come out of your mouth. Because I'll read it again. A man will be satisfied with good by the fruit of his words. If you want to be satisfied with good, then be intentional about the fruit that comes out of your mouth. Because if it's rotten and it's bad, don't nobody want that. Nobody wants your bad fruit, fam. You don't even want it. It's probably why you're trying to give it out so often. But if you got good fruit, then give it. Because good fruit produces good fruit. And if you want to be fruitful with good fruit, then you're not functioning as a fool. As a matter of fact, if you're interested in actually being so intentional with your words that you get paid, when people press play, when they hear you and they listen to you, if that's something that you actually feel like, you know what, I would like to get paid when people listen to me. Yeah. Well, payment is not always monetary, by the way. There is a such thing as social currency. There is a such thing as reputation. A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, but sometimes it's his reputation that adds value to the treasure that he even leaves behind. The reputation. So the spoils of your glory, meaning the life you lived in your story, is able to add value to somebody else just because your name belongs to them. It's attached to them. So when your name get brought up, that's clout for them. Well, either way, if you want to actually know how you can grow so intentional with your words that the message behind them changes and transforms lives at the highest level, then what I want to invite you to is tomorrow, this Saturday, I'm having an actual online virtual event. It's only an hour. It's called Monetize Your Message Party, and we're going to have a good time in there. And if that's something that you feel like lines up with you, you're aligned with it, then listen, I got you. But first and foremost, I got to tell you this. You got this. You alive, fam. It's Friday, and you done made it. You done made it this far. You got this. If you want to get intentional about your day to day, get intentional about the words you say. If you want to grow intentionally and develop good fruit, be intentional about the words you speak. If you want to change lives, get intentional about the words you speak because death and life are in the power of the tongue. But check this out. But the one who loves it shall eat of its fruit. Mm. So if you want to be fruitful and you want to be loving and caring and honest and direct, but also produce such a fruit that other people can't stop eating and coming back to you for it, then get intentional about the words that come out of your mouth. And at that point, I say this: much love. And remember, whether you woke up on purpose or not, you still woke up with purpose attached to your life. As a matter of fact, I would say it's a sign to it. The question is, how intentional are you willing to be about it? Because if you unmute yourself, that's evidence that you're pretty intentional. Just make sure the words you speak are life giving and healing rather than the opposite. Much love, fam. Remember, you got this.